Hey guys, I'm Nate. I'm the owner of Mud Digger Off-Road.
I'm John, and I'm the shop manager.
And we're going to go over a quick intro and kind of a quick rundown of the coilover options that we decided to go with for our 21 Ford Bronco build. As you guys already know, we are doing a full solid axle swap with the 06 F350 Super Duty axles, front and rear. And we decided to go full coilovers all the way around as well. For our options, we decided to go with the Fox 2.0 14-inch travel, both front and rear. For the rear setup, we went with the 2.0, again 14-inch travel emulsion coilover, so we do not have a piggyback or we do not have a remote reservoir in the rear. In the front, we did go with the true hose remote reservoir for the front. The reason we went with the emulsion in the rear is we were just a little short on space with that coilover bucket. So in order to keep everything kind of tight and clean up under there, we decided to go with just the emulsion. As far as the springs go, we had an option between both King and Ibach for the springs. These are both on a dual rate setup. I've always been a huge fan. John's been an enormous fan of King. So that was just a no-brainer there as far as the springs go. So we went with the 14-inch upper on both and then a 16-inch lower for both coilovers in a 2.5 spring for the 2-inch coilovers.
So this is our Fox 2.0 remote reservoir dual rate coilover that we're putting on the front of our Ford Bronco. So to break it down, we have our reservoir and we have our body. On the body we have a few different components. Down here we have our lower spring seat. This is what will hold the spring onto the coilover. We have our dual rate slider. This will go in between both of our springs. Right here we have our stop ring. So this is our travel limiter to prevent the springs from compressing too far. Then we have our preload adjustment ring right here. It allows us to set ride height on the vehicle and preload adjustment.
So we're going to go over a quick demonstration here of putting together, assembling, and setting up a dual rate coilover. This is going to be relevant for your piggybacks, your remote reservoir, as well as your emulsion setups, all in a dual rate, so running 2 springs on a coilover. So the first thing we're going to start with here is we're going to go ahead and we're going to remove, there's a small C-clip right up here. That's going to have to come off so we can remove the lower spring seat. So he's going to pop that off real quick. And then that lower spring seat can come up. Just kind of keep an idea and remember the exact way that these come off so everything goes back together the way it needs to be. The next thing coming off is going to be the spring slider that's going to go between both of your springs. We're disassembling this here today exactly the same way it came out of the box. So yours should come assembled roughly this way. If not, just make sure you get it set up. So after we get the spring slider off, we're ready to go ahead and install our upper spring. Your upper spring is always going to be your shorter or your lighter spring of the two. So we're going to start out, in our case, we've got it's going to be, like I said before, it's going to be the King in a 2.5 diameter for the 2-inch coilover for a 14-inch spring in a 300-pound rated. So this is our shorter spring of the two. We've got a 14-inch going on top. Our coilover's upside down right now, so that's going to be the first one going on. Make sure that gets centered and seated down nicely. And then our next spring here, we're going to get him ready. We're going to go ahead and slide on our spring slider that's going to go between the 2 springs. Our next one here is again going to be a 2.5-inch diameter King in a 16-inch long and a 350-pound rated spring. So that one's going to be the next one to go on here. Once we've got those 2 on, in this case on this remote reservoir, there is a small packing that goes under that C-clip that we've removed here just for demonstration. It kind of holds everything tight and keeps it from rattling around. But we're going to leave that one off just for ease of assembly here. But that goes in that first groove right up here on top. So once we've got both of our springs on here, like I said, one more time, we've got the smaller spring on top. That's going to be the 14-inch. And then the 16-inch is going to be on the bottom. We did leave off a packing that goes under that lower spring seat just for ease of installation here to show you guys essentially how it goes together that will be going back on. It just keeps everything tight from rattling around. So John already went ahead here and he put that lower spring seat on. A point is here, we want to leave our preload adjustment all the way up for the moment. It's just going to make everything so much easier as far as getting these compressed down just a little bit to get that lower spring seat and that seat clip up there. So the next step here, once we've got our lower spring seat, we're going to just compress down a little bit. And John went ahead and popped that seat clip on there. And then there you go, you've got your fully assembled 2-inch coil spring and a dual rate. This is going to be the same process for the 2, the 2.5, and the 3-inch coilover. A couple of key notes is you've got the dual rate slider stop rings right here, if you can see them. You've got a lower and then you've got the lock ring up top. They're going to be able to go down and you're going to set your limit to how far this dual rate slider can slide up before it hits a hard stop. Obviously your remote reservoir and then your preloaded height adjustments up here. But other than that, guys, that is pretty much it as far as a quick assembly of a dual rate coilover.